Hi, I'm Lisa Murdoch, and I'm one of the Spy Girls, and I'm here to give you a little history about myself. I was raised on a farm in Midwest rural Indiana, and that means gravel roads and all the animals that you could think of on a farm. That's what we did. It was great, and I loved it, and I lived there until third grade when my parents got divorced. My dad stayed on the farm, but my mom moved a different state every year until finally we landed in California, and she actually stayed there, so I was grateful of that. But she sent me back to live with my dad only after a year. So from the rest of my junior high school years, I did live back in Indiana on the farm, but every summer and every break I was able to go back to California and live with my mom during that time. And I was always known in high school as the girl that always had a smile on her face, and I was just very much into everybody's lives. Everybody talked to me. I was just always the person that everybody went to with all their problems. My dad used to call me Dear Abby, which is like this little write-in column that people would always write questions to. And he'd always joke that I was going to be a psychologist when I grew up because everybody told me everything. And I don't know whether it was because I traveled around so much and that I lived in California, because back then, I mean, it was such a strange thing, especially in Midwest Indiana, to have divorced parents. For one, it wasn't common, but to have lived in California and be going out there all the time, it was just a different world. There was no internet that connected them at that time. So I graduated from high school kind of as the person that everyone just kind of talked to, cared for. I was a cheerleader. I was in some speech and drama. I was in a lot of fun fields. But when I got to college, it was still fun, but I realized I was going to follow my passion of interior design and the painting world. And I was really happy with all of that. But I ended up quitting college after 1 year with the good idea of going back eventually, but I wanted to go back out to California. And I think California just spoke to me so much because of the diversity of people, and I remembered that as a child, of how in the Midwest it was all one nationality, and that when I went to California in the 5th grade, it had been just everybody of all kinds of different experiences. And due to the fact that everyone always talked to me growing up and shared their feelings with me, things that were really kind of too personal. Sometimes, as I got older, and like when I was in my 20s, people would come up and talk to me like I had a note on my forehead telling them to talk to me. But they would just tell all their personal events. Like, I probably missed my calling. I should have been a bartender or a hairdresser because I'm just that type of person. But unfortunately, with my life, my own first relationship, I did move back from California again to Indiana to marry my college sweetheart. And although he was a good man, I ended up finding that after 8 years, I just really needed to find myself. People don't realize the destruction that happens within yourself with a divorce and with moving around. And I've only lived that divorce life. Maybe that just happens to everybody. But I needed to find a job, so I went back to my profession that I kind of started in college and never finished, and was able to do decorative painting. And so I was a decorative painter. My gosh, when I look at it now, before I started with Spy Girls, I painted for 17 almost years. So within that painting, though, I was divorced in 1994, I think, and now in 2005, I met the man of my dreams, and I was in a good place to be able to find him. And those years, pretty much 10 years, I spent in different relationships and finding out about myself and seeing all the people that I still had that note on my head, and all of my friends would tell me, what had happened and all the cheating. And they wouldn't just tell me about how they were cheating or how their people or their loved ones or their spouses were cheating on them. They would tell me about what they were doing that was cheating. and they would laugh and they would think it was funny. And I remember that always affecting me because I just growing up, my heart has been so soft to people that need something more. And so to find them taking away so flippantly from reality and truth was really a hard thing for me. My husband, I ended up, like I said, meeting, I painted his bedroom. So the joke is I redid his master bedroom, and I was the last accessory. But he's the kind of guy that just, you realize after, looking into things that there is somebody out there that can give you happiness and peace and that allows you to be yourself, but allows you to also grow as a person, and that they'll support you and be there for you. And it's just a really great thing to see that people can have honest, good relationships, because I've listened to so many that don't. And just something I can't stand for. It just hurts me to see people hurt, because I was hurt so many years, not through cheating necessarily, but through just dishonesty. And it's out there so much that if we could just all learn to be honest, we would find a more, a better ability to understand each other. The way that I learned to understand people of being so different in different nationalities and different religions and different lives from my Midwest Indiana farm town.